Today we're reading Sunrise on the Reaping. The most anticipated book, I feel like, for me was this one. Can't wait to get into it. Let's get into it. Hi! I actually am filming this after I film my outro, but I really was looking forward to reading Sunrise on the Reaping and getting to know more about this whole world as a whole. Yeah, I picked this up on, what's it called? Release day. On release day. And I read it day of. I got into it day of. I was really excited for this book, but I also have to mention that I have not read The Hunger Games again in preparation for this book. I read them about like 1.5 to 2 years ago, I think, for the first time. And I read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes right along when I read that. I finished the 3 and then I read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I do have to say that I was not a fan of The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, but I love the trilogy. And I was very excited to read about Haymitch. Like, expectations, well, I try for them not to be high. I can't help but be really excited for this, but that's all I have to say about that. But this is going to be a spoiler reading vlog with a non-spoiler rating and review towards the end. So if you want to skip to that, you can do that. I'll have timestamps along the bottom here, so you can click there if you want to just skip to that. We'll talk about it, no spoilers, but this is a spoiler reading vlog. We'll be talking about everything. I read on camera, I react on camera towards the end about very important things, but this is a spoiler reading vlog, so you can watch me read, react to this, talk about everything about the book, and then if you want to see the spoiler review without watching me read this whole thing, you can also do that too, okay? So let's get started. Really excited, let's go. Hello, it is 11:48 on March 18th, and sorry if I look horrible, but I don't know if you realize, but this is my nighttime sweater. I'm just now getting back from my day and kind of reconvening, but I did go out and I did pick up Sunrise on the Reaping. The day has come and I'm really excited about it. And at least now I can read it on release day, even though there's only 10 minutes left in release day. But that is my plan for tonight, the remainder of the night. Gonna read as much as I can, but I'm really excited for this and I can't wait to get started. So I'm gonna do that right now. Let's get into it. Hey, I wanted to talk about this before I left. I have to go out, but I didn't want to talk about it when I came back because I want to read. So I want to update you as to where I am. This book came out Tuesday. It is now Thursday. And I have a few things I want to discuss. I haven't been vlogging much, but I write down everything I want to tell you. I have notes on notes that I want to talk to you about. So I grabbed my book on Tuesday and I started reading it that night when I got home. But page 5, we start off rough. And Haymitch says that he's not a drinker, which actually like really hurt because I was like, we all know that Haymitch went through a lot, especially after seeing like tribute after tribute killed under his mentorship. I'm sure that took a toll on him, but I'm like wondering where exactly in the timeline the alcoholism really kicked in. But that was something I just wanted to know because it was his birthday's on Reaping Day. It's his 16th birthday. He works for this lady who makes alcohol, and for his birthday she was like, oh, you make it, I'm pretty sure you're old enough to drink it. So she gives him a bottle and he was like, oh, I'm not much of a drinker, but like I can sell it for money or I can give it to my girlfriend's uncle, sorry. But I was like, hey Mitch. Then page 7, and I will get into this a little bit later in my notes, but his friend is named Burdock Everdeen, and he notes that he can sing, which is something that we know from Hunger Games book 1, because Katniss says that her dad was like more of a singer and, you know, he knew that kind of thing. I'm kind of gonna get into, I don't know if it's like unpopular opinions about character cameos, but I'm gonna talk on that later. But having his best friend or his really good friend be Burdock Everdeen, I feel is a little bit strange, dare I say. I don't know if it was because Haymitch was out of it during Katniss's games because of the he wasn't even out of it because he was pretty much there and attentive, but you know, I feel like, I know that this is written after the Hunger Games, but I feel like if you're gonna throw in something like that in, I feel like we had to have had a little bit of background context to maybe Haymitch caring a little bit more about Katniss, which he did care more about her than Peeta, but I thought that was just because he thought she was more suited for survival in the games in the first place. You know what I mean? Then Haymitch It's reaping day. It's Haymitch's birthday. And the reaping goes by, and guess what? He's not picked. His girlfriend is a cubby girl, and she gets into like a little tussle that happens with the second male tribute gets picked. He gets shot, he dies, and his mother kind of like wants to hold on to his body, and so Haymitch's girlfriend kind of gets involved, and then when he sees that they're gonna like kill her, he gets involved, and that's when they pick him as the second male tribute on his birthday. And I feel like with all the context that we know that happens after and like everything that happens to Haymitch, it's just like it makes it worse to know that this isn't even the way this was supposed to go. Like, you could call it like fate, destiny, I guess, if your name gets picked out of a lot of names, but like Haymitch wasn't even picked, which is, that hurt. That really did. Then we get, again, another character cameo. We get Peeta's dad mentioned. I'm gonna come back to this later, but I just wanted to note that now we have Katniss's dad mentioned, Peeta's dad mentioned, okay? And then Plutarch is mentioned. Now that I'm a little bit farther along, I'm noticing Plutarch not to just be a one and done cameo, but like to be somewhat important to the story, at least so far. At least he's involved in Haymitch's, what's it called, journey to the games. But another cameo, that makes 3 now. Then we also learn, obviously, that with Haymitch being in the games, he needs a mentor, and there being no living District 12 tribute to be a mentor is kind of off. Now, they mention in passing how there was this girl who won District 12 years ago, won the Hunger Games from District 12 years ago, which we know is Lucy Gray. But the funny thing is that nobody really talks about it, and since it was so long ago, the camera footage is like not great, and nobody really knows it's kind of like a little mystery, and Haymitch doesn't know anything about this girl, which makes sense because I'm pretty sure Snow wouldn't have wanted her information to be out there, especially since she escaped, and his relationship with her problematic in the first place, especially for him now being a president. Then we make it to page 67. I have all my page numbers noted down just in case I wanted to go back in there, but even with how developed the Hunger Games is by the 75th, 74th Hunger Games, it's like more, I feel like, official. The train ride, lots of food, they get their own apartment with nice beds and all of this stuff, and they're treated more with, it's not dignity, but they're treated better than especially Lucy Gray was. So it's kind of interesting to see how much they developed since the 10th annual Hunger Games to the 50th quarter quell. And things are still a little bit rough. Haymitch and all of the other tributes are kind of separated into boys and girls, and they're shoved into locker rooms, told to like undress and everything, and there's a shower that sprays water, and like something gets in his eyes, which he thought was soap, but it's insecticides. Uncalled for, unnecessary, I would say. Like, a really good shower could have done that, but I don't know why we need to be spraying insecticides to literally everyone's eyes and whole facial, everywhere. Uncalled for. And crazy to begin with. With this whole theme of the Hunger Games still being a mess, the introduction and the chariot with the horses going down the Capitol happens. So, as we know, the 50th quarter quell means double the tributes. So, in this reaping, Haymitch's friend, little sister kind of role, got also reaped that day. She's 13 years old, Haymitch is 16. And he kind of vows to be her ally and to protect her because he's known her since she was born. So as this chariot goes on, which the man who, the stylist has been using the same clothes forever, overalls, bucket for like the coal mines, it's just not good. And sends them off, 4 people, 1 chariot, and something happens, the chariot crashes. And in this kind of accident that happens, Haymitch's friend, Luella, hits her head and dies. In a kind of like burst of defiance, he kind of picks her up and vows to be the first one to reach Snow in the chariot because everybody crashed basically. And so he makes it, and he kind of like holds her in his arms, and he's like, eye contact with Snow, and he kind of mentions how he hopes one day that someone's gonna get him. And that's kind of like the first little thing of defiance, which I think, I have a theory about what happened with, like in the Hunger Games, we noticed that Haymitch is like alone. He doesn't have anyone to talk to, and I'm just wondering what happens to his family. And I feel like what happened in the games, that we already know that something went wrong there, that was mentioned in Catching Fire. I wish I could remember, but I can't. Something happened with the arena and he manipulates it, which we'll get into later. And that's how he wins, which wasn't the proper way to win, which I think will go into maybe Snow's little plan to make his life hell. But this is another reason as well. Then we get to the mentors. Okay, this is kind of where I'm gonna get into the whole character cameos. Who's this mentor? People from other districts have more tributes, so they kind of sprinkle them around. I think District 12 might be the only one who doesn't have a victor. But they're like, I wonder who our mentors will be. Wyrus. Wyrus from District 3 is his mentor, one of them. Why, you remember Wyrus? From Nuts and Bolts? Yeah, that's Wyrus. And I kind of, listen, I love backstories. I love especially like the Hunger Games, getting to know like everyone's whole arena and what they have to do to win. So we get a background onto Wyrus and how she won in the first place, which she's super smart, and the way she won was smart in itself. Her arena was full of reflective surfaces and she kind of outsmarts it and uses it to her advantage to win the games. Super smart. Knew I liked my girl even though she was a little crazy, but we still like her. Then we get the other mentor, which is Mags. Remember Mags? R.I.P. my girl Mags. I love Mags. Yeah, we get her. We don't get her backstory. But something that was mentioned here that I'm not sure is kind of correct in my head. I'm gonna go into it. On page 89, this is what I read last night, so we're kind of like up to date. Because I think this character might be Finnick, but it doesn't make sense in the timeline. So it says she's older. Then I remember the games from when I was little and a hysterical boy dressed in a suit made of seashells who'd just been crowned in front of the entire nation of Panem. And this woman had held the boy and done her best as his mentor to shield him from the cameras. I'm picturing a little boy and I picture Finnick, and I'm pretty sure that's not what is implied because Finnick is younger than Haymitch and Haymitch would have been a boy. It just doesn't make sense in the timeline. I don't know if I'm reading too much into. I see it like, yeah, they're from the same district. I see like the same district as Mags and a little boy being reaped and won as Finnick, but it doesn't compute. Now I'm gonna get into my little discourse about cameos. I feel like cameos for the sake of cameos is unnecessary. An example, like Heavensby's last name being mentioned in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Don't remember if he played much of a role, but I remember seeing his name on the page and being like, Plutarch? That's Plutarch's great-great-grandfather or grandfather, you know? Ever so slightly unnecessary, okay? So the equivalent to now of Heavensby in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is now Katniss and Peeta's dad, as well as Katniss' mom being mentioned in this book, and how Katniss' dad, Haymitch's friend, has a crush on this girl who is on the richer end of District 12, and how he doesn't think it'll ever happen because ever so rarely do like wealthy people marry from the seam. And then we get this kind of glimpse as to that she has like a little bit of a crush on him, and Haymitch was like, oh, like maybe I'm wrong. Okay, I'm not even halfway done with this book, so it might come back and it might just totally be a mistake on my part, and I'll say something to you in that case. But I feel like, especially with people so close to us that we know, like Katniss and Peeta being my number one, the minute I hear like Malark or Everdeen, I just feel like it takes you out of the story and I'm like, oh. And then I start to reminisce about Peeta, about Katniss, about their Hunger Games and like what they went through, especially with Peeta. I think about his whole journey and how that literally hurt me so bad. But especially seeing Peeta's dad in this book was like, oh, Peeta. And that kind of like, also tying it back with Haymitch, I think of Catching Fire when Peeta and Haymitch kind of went head to head wanting to be in the third quarter quell, the 75th Hunger Games, and kind of trying to be there with Katniss, you know? Like, it ties in a little bit, but it also takes you out of the story at the same time. So I don't know if those characters are gonna come back in a bigger way, but I feel like if they don't, it is ever so slightly unnecessary to put their names in there. Maybe it's just to like a callback, but it really does take me out of the story for a little bit. So that is what I've read so far. I want to finish this weekend. I'm so into this no matter what, and I'll be coming back to this, obviously. So I'll see you later. I am gonna leave now, and we'll see each other soon. Okay, bye. I am back home. Hello. It is 12:50. You can't see that, but it's 12:50, and I'm gonna get back to reading. You know what I have to stop doing? Going on TikTok and reading things when I see the picture in the video. Well, you know, like the picture on the post is Sunrise on the Reaping. I saw something yesterday and it was just like a quote, and I was like, stop, pause. And then I swiped. I read it and then I swiped, and then I thought, wait. Because that was a spoiler. And people have to stop doing this, especially when the book's only been out for 2 days. Like, it was a quote from somewhere in the book. I don't know. I haven't gotten to it, but now I'm just like thinking about it. It was something about a father, I think. I just remember this is a spoiler video and I can talk about this stuff. But I'll come back to you if I figure out what that is. Something like introducing someone to someone's father. I have no idea. And I thought about it. And I was like, whose father could it be that everybody... I don't know. I didn't swipe. I didn't see what the whole ruckus was about. But it had to be something significant. I can't really remember what it said besides that quote. But something happened. I don't know what it is. Anyway, I'm gonna keep reading. Also, this is his little flint thing. Forgot to mention that earlier. He gets a present from... I keep wanting to call her Lucy Gray. From... What's her name? Something Dove? Lenore Dove. Lenore Dove. Yeah, she gives him this. And this... I had to Google what it was because I was like, I understand it, but I've never seen one before. But apparently you can use this to make a fire. And obviously that'll be his token and it'll help him in the games. I really want to know what the terrain is going to be like for his games. Super interested. And honestly, I think I mentioned this earlier about Finnick, but like I'd love to read his book and I'd love to read more about the terrain that he was in. And like everything he had to do. Okay, I love the part of these books that gets to the games. Like I know it's like deeper than that, but like I can't help it. I have to sneeze. Okay, I'm gonna read for a little bit. I am on page 96. We're gonna try to get to like what, 120 maybe today? Let's sneeze again. Sorry. But yeah, I'm gonna try to get to page 120-ish. If not, I'll just probably go to bed because I'm kind of tired, not gonna lie to you. Okay, one thing I also want to say is that songs in these books always tend to happen, especially in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And when I read a song, I assume it's the same case for people who don't sing, or I don't know. But when I when I see a song, I read it, but then I try to give it like a little bit of music, but it never comes out right. Like at all. It sounds terrible. But yeah. Also, I just wanted to see what the cover looks like because I didn't take the sponge jacket off. Love. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. One more interjection here. When I read these books, I always think, what would I do? And would I survive? Cornucopia or no cornucopia? I would go cornucopia. Try to increase my odds at getting a weapon. Or a backpack or something. I would do that, I feel. Depending on the terrain. Like, listen. I don't know. Would you survive Katniss's games? Maybe. But I don't know how to hunt or what plants to eat. So I feel like I would starve. I don't know how I would do that. I'd try to make friends. Allies, you know? And then when they're about to turn on you, you run away. But then again, I'd be starving. End up like Foxface. In the case of catching fire for the third quarter quell, allies. I'm not sure what else. What do they eat? Fish. I am inclined to think that I would not survive. I'd like to think I would, but I don't think so. Anyway. What a coincidence. I think we might have just gotten to the line. It says, "My father wants to meet you." I don't know who said this. I haven't gotten to that part. I read that line and then I turned the camera on. I don't know who it could be. Okay, let's get into it, okay? "He's at the booth with the potato, Ampert tells me, then scurries after her." His father, a potato? Is Ampert just some deluded child who lives in a fantasy world? Before I commit myself, I need to know, so I introduce Wyatt to Rinky. Wait, I feel like it's Beatty? A small man with black hair, his back is to me, leans against the counter that holds a lone potato. Yeah, plus, this guy's really good. He's really smart, so... We're talking... Okay, sorry. I haven't explained who this man is. Okay, so, Amber is a boy from District 4, I believe? It might be 3, though, because Beatty was District 3. Let's go to the table. Okay. Ampert is District 3. So that would mean that Beatty already got... Is he even old enough to have a son? Beatty wasn't that old, at least in the movie. Okay, let's see. As he turns, I note the pair of steel-rimmed glasses. While he bears a strong resemblance to Ampert, this is not why he looks familiar. It's Beatty, a victor from District 3. A cold dread washes over me as the puzzle pieces come together. His father has accompanied him to the capital because he's a victor, and therefore a mentor, assigned to coach his own child to his death in the 50th Hunger Games. It is yet... Okay, listen. I feel like when I saw Wyrus, I thought Beatty, because it's always Wyrus and Beatty. Do I hate to say it's another cameo? Yes, but I feel like... I don't know, because Hamish is gonna learn a lot now from Beatty, but I feel like he would have learned a lot from Wyrus as well. She's really smart. I feel like that was our ticket in, and that was an acceptable person to have back. Beatty, however, having... How old was he in Catching Fire? I don't know. I'm not gonna say I'm mad. Listen, I love to see these characters again, but I just wonder how pivotal it'll be to this. Beatty is really smart, don't get me wrong, but so is Wyrus. I feel like we saw more of Beatty in Catching Fire because he was more sane than Wyrus was at that point, but yeah, I mean, Hamish could learn a lot from Beatty. I just thought we were all set with Wyrus. I feel like we're getting more characters, like, I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like so far in these 108 pages, we're really layering on all of these cameos. Katniss's dad, Katniss's mom, Peeta's dad, Wyrus, Mags, Beatty. I don't know. I don't hate cameos, I'm not gonna lie to you. But I would like them to be important. I just don't want it to be like high and by. And can we just go back? I know that I read the book like 2 years ago. I feel like Catching Fire just sticks more in my head as a movie. I retain a lot of information from the book, but when I think of individual moments and how they're portrayed, I think of the movies. So obviously Katniss wants Wyrus and Beatty on her team, and I get that at that point Wyrus is not totally there, but at the same time Hamish, when he hears those names, he's like, oh my god, really? You want them? Why don't you take Joanna, Finnick, and Gloss? What was the other girl's name? The brother and sister duo? Gloss and Kashmir, I think. Like, he wants the strong opponents, but I know this book is written a long time after that original trilogy, but I feel like we're introducing characters that should fit in with their characters in the original trilogy, because you have Hamish saying, oh, like, really, you want them? But if you're receiving information from them in this book and you know how useful they are, then you would know that they're going to be useful for Katniss in her games, you know? Call me crazy. Let's keep reading.
12 seconds later.
Also, can we just talk about how unfortunate it is that Beatty has to mentor his own son? It's crazy. That's the question. Beady has to be I just read this. I have to read it to you because I'm like answering out loud like if you just read this. It says the real question is, how did Amber end up here with him? Two tributes reaped from one family. Are they just the unluckiest family in Panem? No. Point blank period. No. Nothing happens by coincidence here. I feel like Beady is probably doing something. He's always, I feel like we saw him be outspoken as to like the Hunger Games, like, oh, they were written into law, they can be unwritten, things like that. So this has to be, I feel like, a punishment from Snow for Beady. And on top of that, have him mentor his own son for the Hunger Games. Crazy. Like, I feel like it has to be some sort of punishment for him. Like we saw for Joanna. Like, Joanna has no one left for them to use against her, which is why she's all like fiercely outspoken about the Hunger Games and hates Snow with everything and won't care what she says in front of anyone. This, I feel, is a punishment. Oh my god. If I kept reading, it says, oh my god, sometimes I need to shut my mouth and keep reading. You're Amber's father. I am, and no doubt you're wondering why I'm here, Hamish. It's because I'm being punished for coming up with a plan to sabotage the capital's communication system. I'm too valuable to kill, but my son is disposable. Dude, sometimes I just need to literally keep reading. That's sometimes like the only thing I need to get clarity. But I was right. What can I say? When am I not? I love predicting things. It's not a prediction. I fear it's just the logical way of thinking, but I'm gonna keep reading the page before I come to you with something. That was crazy. Hello, it's 1:54 a.m. and I thought, maybe I can do this tomorrow, but I was like, no. I should update everyone now as to where I am. So we're still making our way through this. It's 1:55. I was gonna read. I wanted to get to 100 pages today. I don't know if that's gonna happen. It's kind of late, but I wanted to go through everything. I don't know how long it's been since I last talked to you, but there's been some developments. So Hamish was invited to Plutarch's house all by himself, just him alone. So he's kind of like, whoa, like he thought he was going to talk to Snow, and he ended up going to Plutarch's house. So they kind of get to talking a little bit, but then Snow is also here, okay? And he's a little sick right now. He's kind of like bleeding from the mouth, and he doesn't know. He says that it was food poisoning, the reason why he's sick. He's like throwing up and all this stuff, like in front of Hamish. And he was like, oh, it's like food poisoning from oysters. And he was like, at least I'm doing better than the parade master, which I told you this, like the parade was a disaster with the chariots and everything. So knowing what we know from, back like books ago, that Finnick said that Snow would put poison into like drinks or food in this case, and he would eat it too, but then obviously he'd get like an antidote or something so it wouldn't affect him. But to prove that it wasn't him and he was eating the same food, like that's something he would do to get like rid of the person. And since that parade was an entire disaster, that guy's out. But I kind of like the callback here, like we're seeing all of this information that we've had like in action and like being used for Snow's benefit. I don't know if it's his benefit, but like he wants this guy out, he's gonna get him out. It's just like, I feel like a subtle way. I don't know if this is like common information known throughout the capital, like Snow's doing this, but like this is how much power he has. Like he can get rid of you just like that if he wants to, like even though he's trying to cover it up. I mean, I feel like like especially people close to him definitely know what's going on. Also in this meeting with Hamish and Snow, Hamish has that flint striker, this one, around his neck as a necklace. And Snow's like, oh, like, that's really interesting. Like, can I see it? Like, blah, blah, blah. And there's actually an inscription that Hamish never noticed from his girlfriend. And he was like, oh, like, who's this? And he kind of, like, notices that it's someone from the Cubby. So I kind of liked how that tied back into the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. What is wrong with me? Into the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Ow, I just pulled my hair. And, he spends, like, time in 12. And obviously, with his ties to Lucy Gray, he knows more than people would suspect about District 12 and about the Cubbies. So, when he sees the inscription, he was like, oh, like, what's her name? And he's like, oh, Lenore, what does the D stands for? Wait, no, don't tell me. And then he tries to guess, like, what the D stands for, like, in a color. And he's, like, going through it. Oh, that's not how they work. And he was like, what is it? And Hamish was like, dove. And he was like, that's right, dove. Like, a color and a bird. They love birds or something like that. And it's just, like, again, a really good callback, but also, like, Hamish was also wondering why he knows so much about this. He probably just thinks that Snow is, like, really on top of the districts and everything. He knows everything just to keep up to date on that. But, like, I thought it was a good tie back into the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And I don't know, I'm just, like, really wondering what happened to Lucy Gray right now. Just, like, right now in this moment, I'm like, dude, what happened to her? Also, in this meeting between Snow and Hamish, Hamish says that he was, like, gonna die in that, and Snow basically was like, yeah, you assured your death with, like, everything that's happened, like, with him carrying the body to Snow, and just disaster after disaster with the peacekeepers on reaping day and everything. But Snow is basically saying, like, it's good that you're gonna die in the arena because at least then your family and your girlfriend will be safe, which is why I think we're gonna talk about this later when I get into more information. But, like, this is really, like, cementing the point for me that the things that will go down in the arena is the reason why Hamish has no one around him later. I'm just really interested. I feel like, did I tell you this? I feel like I've been saying it a lot, but I'm, like, really interested in knowing the reason why Hamish uses alcohol in that way to kind of, like, get rid of the world. Like, I know it's, like, a lot of trauma to be in the Hunger Games in the first place, but I feel like we never see anyone from, like, besides Katniss and Peeta that's around him, like a friend or anything like that. And I genuinely think it's like a Joanna situation where they got rid of his brother, his mother, his girlfriend, that he doesn't want to get close to anyone else because Snow will just kill them. So again, when Snow says that, oh, at least you'll die in the arena, like, your family and your girlfriend will be safe, I feel like when Hamish wins, also another part of the punishment with whatever's going to happen in that arena, his punishment is going to be his family dying. Towards the end of this whole encounter, Snow brings in Luella, a girl that looks a lot like Hamish's friend, the one who died in the chariot situation. Thing is, Hamish is like, that looks like her, but that's not her. He can notice things that it's just not her. Turns out this girl is just a random girl that they made look like Luella because they need a fourth tribute, 412, because nobody knows what happened and that she died, which is crazy in itself. And we kind of feel bad for her because, well, we've deduced that she's from 11 because of a piece of bread that she chose to eat. Not important, but this girl is from 11. I feel like they were trying to figure out if she was, like, the daughter of capital traders or if she's from, like, just, like, a family they're trying to punish in 11. So this girl has been, like, I feel like brainwashed into thinking she's Luella because she's like, oh, I'm Luella from District 12, blah, blah, blah. But, like, she's not saying much else. We learn later from Mags, I think, that she has a machine attached to her chest, probably injecting something, whatever, that, like, a drug to, like, kind of keep her, what's it called? Compliance. And she's also touching her ear a lot, and we're kind of thinking at this point that she has, like, an audio implant in here feeding her what to say, and also using that as a device to kind of, like, keep her in check, because you can play, like, a really high frequency sound and she'll be like, ah, you know, when she's, like, saying something, like, not good and all that. Also, Wyrus knocks out the power in the building, okay? And Beetee comes up to their apartment and has a little talk with Hamish, asking him if he really was interested in knowing how to beat the arena. And Hamish was like, yeah. So there is a plan. And I really do believe that if Hamish goes through with this, this will be the reason why. I'm really, like, solid in the idea that his family does not survive this. And I feel like if there is a reason why, it would be that. I feel like that would be, like, that would hit hard for Hamish. And I know Hamish is trying to do, like, something good with, like, blowing out the arena. But I feel like since he doesn't think that he will survive this, that he can do this and try to, like, cancel this Hunger Games. But basically the plan is that there's, like, a tank of water connected to this arena and they're gonna get into it and they're gonna basically break it so it will flood the arena and kind of shut it down, you know? But again, if Haymitch does go through with this and does everything, at the same time, I feel like he's gonna try to do this, but it won't go according to plan because I feel like the games do end and he does win. So this game, whether it works or not, will go on. And he will obviously be like the victor of all this. But I feel like this in particular, if it goes through, I feel like this situation will be the instigating factor into why Haymitch has the personality that he does in the whole Hunger Games trilogy with Katniss. Also, Haymitch got a score of 1. A 1. Crazy work. Here, I feel like they're trying to pinpoint like that this guy's not worth having any sponsors or anything sent to him. But then kind of the interviews come around. I haven't gone to the interview quite yet. We're kind of in prep for that. But they're kind of using the point that at least Wyatt is another tribute from 12. He's really good at calculating the odds of people winning, which is really interesting, and I really like that. And basically, while he was training for his interview, he was like, oh, Haymitch is also a really good person to bet on because he scared the game makers into giving him a 1. Like, that's really interesting. Not only that, but we are now, like, District 12 is a part of a new pack. So there are the career packs, but Amper, BD's son, has been putting together his own pack. Basically, all of the other districts besides the careers and District 5 are in this new pack. So while the careers are really strong, we have the numbers like 2 to 1. So really it's kind of even because they're really strong, but we have more people. So we're kind of at even odds right now. And Haymitch is just like a really good person to bet on because he's kind of like unstable. The game makers don't really trust him, and he's a part of this pack, and he's really strong. So he has like also a chance of winning, even if you don't think he does. And we're getting to kind of the end of what I wanted to talk about today. And the latest thing I read is that Effie is here. Okay, let's talk about it. Another cameo. I love Effie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really do. She is the sister of one of the kind of like the prep people. The styling this book is kind of weird because you have your head stylist that doesn't really care about what happens with 12. He's had this job for a really long time and he's just like given up. He's like drunk and they're like, oh my god, what are they gonna wear? And the other 2 that are under him, so like his assistants, are in school right now and they're doing this as a part of the assignment. And the one girl is like, oh my god, I'm gonna call my sister, like I don't know what to do. Guess who the sister is? It's Effie. Effie's the older sister, and she comes in clutch, bringing in like old clothes from their grandparent, like black, so they can wear it to the interview, so they can be like all styled, and it'll be good for their image because right now they were going to go in their training uniforms, which are dirty and old, and that's just not a good look. But Effie is back. Listen, I know what I said about cameos. I'm excited to see Effie again, but again, I feel like this I don't know if she's going to do something bigger, but I feel like right now, again, it's just like another person we know for like a little hint of something. But this could give us like a little bit of a story as to how Effie becomes the capital escort for District 12. Because right now, the escort, not a nice lady, first of all, but she's been having a really hard time getting the stylist to kind of make her look good. Like, the stylist is like doing the worst of the worst, has them in the worst costumes for the parade. The interview stuff is like totally down the drain because he's drunk and hasn't made anything. So Effie's really coming in clutch for her and making her look good. And I feel like when this lady retires, because I feel like she's like old, Effie is going to take over. Obviously she's going to take over, but that's just kind of like a little subtle backstory as to how Effie got her job. But I feel like even if they're trying to kind of explain the relationship between Haymitch and Effie and why they're so close, they also could have done it without this and like having Effie know Haymitch when he was just 16 years old, because Effie did, we don't necessarily know how long Effie and Haymitch have been like together going to District 12, but we know like they obviously have a really good relationship together and they're friends. I don't know if necessarily you have to go back this far, but I'm not gonna say I don't like Effie because I do like Effie. So yeah, we'll just see. I feel like at the end I'm gonna have a final consensus on what I feel like the whole cameo situation is doing. That's where I'm gonna leave it. Anyway, yeah, I kind of want to read like I wanted to get to halfway. Yeah, we're not even halfway yet. This is halfway. I'm like right here. I just got to part 2. Not in the games yet, and I feel okay. When I read Catching Fire, I feel like the movie definitely shortened the first half. Why am I'm on low battery? Oh, dang, I'm on low battery. But it shortened the first half of the book and the lead up to the games. But I feel like even we're about like 20 pages from halfway and we're not in the games yet, but I'm actually so wrapped up in the story that I don't mind. And usually I love the games, but right now I'm liking the pace of the story and how we're getting so much background information as to everything that Haymitch has been through so far. So yeah, I'm running out of battery, but I'll come back to you tomorrow with any updates, and yeah. Okay, bye. He's about to go up. He's gonna get in the tube and he's gonna go up into the games. Kind of nervy right now. Hi, I'm inserting myself here because I forgot to say this and I just want to cover it really quick. But so far it mentioned Gull. You remember the one from the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes who basically was the creator of the mutts and everything. Yeah, crazy, but totally in line with her and who she is. But she coined the term, may the odds be ever in your favor. Totally in her character to do so. Not very pleasant of her, to be honest. But it's totally in line for who she is. It's like she said it sarcastically, like, how could they ever be in anyone's favor? And I know she meant it that way too. Like, I know she had a hoot out of that one. Crazy. And then we got to Plutarch and Haymitch having a conversation, and Plutarch basically saying to Haymitch, like, you can trust me. He gave him a call with Lenore and was basically like, I know about the plan. I have some information for you. The sun, if there's a sun in the arena, it matches our sun. So the sun rises this way, you should be heading north. Use the sun as your compass and kind of go that way. And he gave him some knowledge about where the mutts are going to be and the way they look and how he can track them down, that kind of stuff. So Plutarch is important to this, and Haymitch learning information that'll help him in the arena. And yeah, I guess it shows you that from the beginning Plutarch was really always in favor of getting rid of the Hunger Games completely and having everyone be equal in the districts and the capital. I'm not gonna lie to you, I want to know more about Haymitch and why he thinks this way, especially when being raised in the capital. I feel like the capital people, like not all of them like Plutarch, but most of them think the way that all of the capital people do, that the districts are below them and that the Hunger Games are justified. But I kind of want to know a little bit more about Plutarch and what, maybe it's like the way he was raised, maybe, I'm trying to remember from the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I remember his name being mentioned. I can't like the Heavensbee name being mentioned, but I can't remember if they ever I know it's been a while since I read it, but you know how like in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Snow had a friend from the district. Basically, he was a district boy who was now in the capital because his father kind of got that push upwards in the social realm. Like, I'm kind of wondering if maybe that happened to the Heavensbee family a while ago, and then through the generations, you know, they stayed in the capital, they were comfortable, but like it never kind of left their mind that this wasn't the right way to live. That's all I wanted to say, so we can get back into the video now. Okay, bye. So I'm gonna read for the night, and I was looking for like ambience as usual, and I actually found Sunrise on the Reaping District 12 ambience, so that's nice. It's like nature sounds, which is nice. So we finally got to the arena, and I'm gonna keep reading. I'll update you if there's anything new. Sorry, it's my finger. And yeah, I'll see you later. Bye.
Hey, just wanted to update you super quickly, but we're about at the point where Hamish is gonna go down and try to flood the computer that controls the arena. And I'm just getting kind of like suspicious vibes that I'm just suspicious of the fact that Amber won't make it out of here alive. And I feel like since he's the one keeping watch while Hamish does everything, that he's just gonna be taken out by the game makers, and I don't really like that. But um I'll update you. Sorry, it's like dark. So I'll probably see you tomorrow. But I'll come back still today if there's anything more I have to talk about.
Hi, it's me. Sorry for my crazy look. Same day. It's just that he's made it up the ladder. So he flooded the area he was supposed to flood. And now he's trying to make it up the ladder. Water's gone everywhere. And he made it to the top. Where's Ampert? He's not there. And I am worried. So this is why I've turned the camera on, just in case something does happen. I don't know what could have happened, but I'm just scared for this boy. He's 12 years old and doesn't deserve none of these people do, but I'm just saying, like, it's crazy. Crazy. So let's keep reading. I have my light, but it shows up weird on camera. I look so pale right now. I look so pale. Sorry for my look and my vibe right now. Yeah, no sign of him. Something isn't right. He wouldn't leave me to fend for myself. That is true. He would not. No sign of Ampert, no sign of struggle. What led him to abandon his post? I feel like the game makers are somehow involved. I don't think this is just a coinky dink. Like, this is not. I don't even know if I think it's the careers. Like, Hamish hasn't run into anybody. By the way, he ran into Lulu. She died because she sniffed flowers. Everything in this arena is poisonous. Do not trust anything. No water, no apples, no berries, no flowers for sniffing, nothing. Like, literally don't trust anything in this arena. It's crazy. Like, how does one survive without something specifically from the cornucopia? Like, Hamish is just lucky that his pack includes so much stuff that he needs. Like, 2 gallons of water, apples, potatoes, and he was sent gifts from his sponsors, which is great. Cheese. That made me hungry. Cheese and crackers and like grape juice. You know what? It's probably mutts. If it was the game makers who went after him as a form of punishment, then it has to be mutts coming from somewhere else besides where they came in. They're trying to flood the computer that controls the arena to try to shut it down, you know what I mean? So I feel like they did it through a mutt portal, but it could be other mutts from other places. Months. Oh god. Not just one. It's a lot. I didn't even know how to process it right now. The boulders are fighting viciously, throwing themselves onto the heap, kicking one another out of the way with powerful hindquarters. One flies through the air and lands at my feet before it springs back up. I spy a bloody scrap of electric blue fabric snagged on its incisors, and everything becomes clear. Carnivorous mutts tearing Ampert apart. Which, might I add, was something that Beatty did not want. He didn't want him to suffer. That's what everybody wants. Doesn't want the person that they love to suffer, but like, this is vile. Next paragraph. I promised Beatty I would not let him suffer. Oh my god. So Hamish is trying to like kill them, and he's like, oh, they're gonna attack me. But no. I prepare myself for the attack, for the inevitable tearing of my flesh, but nothing happens. The moment one's knocked free of the mound, it dives back in. They are programmed for Ampert, and Ampert alone. His look, his smell, his taste. And might I add that he's still alive. We haven't heard a cannon go off. That means that is crazy to be torn apart by these things, and to be like alive, like not even die of your wound. No, it's vile for that. I can't get over how pale I look right now. I'm so sorry. I look horrendous. Oh my... Wait a minute. Okay, this is getting a little graphic, so be warned. Panting, I watch them fade away. Then I turn back to what I am meant to witness. A small white skeleton stripped clean to the bone. No flesh or clothing remains. Only an axe at its right side, my knife at its left. Buddy. I stumble forward. spotting his tracker wedged just below his elbow. There's no one to comfort, no ease out of this world. Ambert's been swallowed up by the capital, and his coffin will hold only the pearly white bones. A cannon fires. Oh, now you want to fire the freaking cannon. Oh, great. Somewhere Beatty's heart breaks into fragments so small it can never be repaired. I'm just thinking about Beatty right now. Having to witness this. This one hurts. This one does hurt. This one in particular does hurt. Like, Lulu died, but I feel like we were prepared for that outcome. And I feel like in a way we were prepared for Amber's outcome as well. But this is just vile. Like, I knew like in some way he had to suffer because this is a punishment for Beatty. But this is like way more worse and crazy than I would have imagined. And I feel like somehow this just doesn't make a difference. Like, the plan that they had to flood the computer that controls the arena, I feel like it didn't. It's not gonna work. I feel that's just gonna like feed into the guilt that Haymitch will have in the future. Like, they did this with a purpose, and even that wasn't fully executed to plan. So in a way, it was a sacrifice that could have been avoided. It worked. I don't know why I'm doing this. Everything's taken on an eerie dreamlike quality. Either the arena's malfunctioning or I've been licking toads. Half afraid to hope, I slowly raise my eyes upward to see the night sky, which cuts in and out like a bad television reception. A burst of static dazzles, then suddenly I'm looking straight up at the real sky. Me and Amber and Beatty and District 9 and a few of the people I've never heard of, we've drowned the brain. We've broken the arena. I don't know what to think of this. I don't know what to think.
A few moments later.
It's back. It's back. It's back. Yeah, too good to be true. Let's read, shall we? Finally, I drop to my knees and my back, stretch out my arms and embrace the sky, only it goes pitch black, and suddenly, as if someone threw on a switch, a low humming emanates from the forest floor. What's causing that? I get a bad feeling. To my horror, I see the arena sky flitter back into focus. And then we make it to part 3. The poster. I'm gonna read 1 or 2 pages more and then I'm going to go to sleep. That was a series of highs and lows. Okay, I'm gonna read a little bit more and then I'm going to bed. But if I don't see you later today, then I'll see you tomorrow. Okay? Good night. Hello. It's been about 2 days, I think, since I sat down and talked to you. But I didn't read much yesterday, I think. I only read like a few pages. Like literally, like maybe 5 at most. But I want to talk to you about some other things that I've read. It's been 2 days. I don't know how much I've read, but I have some updates. So, updates. I don't know how to say his name. Panache? Panache? P-A-N-A-C-H-E? And 2 other careers are dead. So, Haymitch had his first 2 kills, and Maiza Lee actually took out Panache. And then they teamed up to be an alliance because, you know, he kind of gets back with her after especially losing Ampert, and kind of look after each other. And can I just tell you, I 100% believe this is obviously the goal, to get us so attached to Maiza Lee that it's gonna hurt us so bad. Because I know going into this, she dies, but he was trying to protect her. And I feel like that's a constant thing that keeps coming back up in this book, is that people that he tries to save, it just doesn't work out for him. Like, that's not something that he's capable of doing. With Ampert, with who else did he try to save? The girl Lulu. And I feel like Maiza Lee is unfortunately gonna be another one, and that's gonna hurt because I feel myself kind of being like, oh my god, like, I know like in the beginning we thought I knew like she was gonna have her little like redemption arc, kind of known as the mean girl, like thinks of herself above everyone else because of her social status, like economic wise. But obviously they become allies. We knew that in advance, and I feel like that's just, it's piling on, and I feel like it's gonna hurt. And they're just getting to bonding, especially now. They bring up a conversation that she had with Ampert and about Ampert not having like siblings, and she was like, oh, I'll be your sister. And Haymitch kind of brings that back up, and she was like, I'll be your sister, Haymitch. And I'm like, guys, please. It's just, it's getting to that. And actually I stopped reading last night and today again because I feel like she might actually die. Right now, let me see where I am. Yeah, it says, before we make sense of the nice, the fast approaching boots, and the undeniable truth that we're being ambushed. Caught off guard, we bolt away from the careers. So right now there are 5 left, 1 ally and 2 careers. And right now, those are the careers. Oh my god, you know what I just thought of? How bad it would be if at the end it was just Haymitch versus his ally. But I feel like maybe that won't be the case because Haymitch wins, and I feel like in this case, I don't know if he would sacrifice himself, but I feel like he obviously doesn't want to kill his ally. So I feel like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Maybe one career goes down here, and then in a fight, the only surviving career takes down his ally, and then it's Haymitch and this guy. I don't know. So I just thought I'd read with you, kind of see any reactions, anything I want to talk about like right now. I actually cannot read that well, so here we go. And yeah, we're going back in. How do you feel about this? I am slightly on edge. I'll read you anything if it comes up, but yeah. I hope if she, like, she's gonna die, but I hope she dies fast. I don't want her to suffer. Wait. In that, okay, so he's sliding. Suddenly my feet lose traction and I'm on my butt sliding into a clearing like I've hit a patch of ice. In that moment, my brain tries to make sense of the incomprehensible image. 2 young game makers in their signature white outfits hunch over an open berm covered in scarlet poppies. Weird. By the look on their faces, I know the surprise is mutual. Amazingly comes over running. For a moment we all freeze. The shock is universal. That's funny. That's funny. What can I say? What? What is going on? It's like they put this game on pause. Mariette, who apparently sensed some weirdness, comes to a halt at the edge of the clearing. What's going on? Are you game makers? That's right, all 4 of you are in absolute violation of the rules. You must immediately withdraw or there will be repercussions. Girl, it feels like a timeout. What is going on? Are they gonna kill him? Maisie Lee goes, that'd be a lot more impressive if you weren't shaking like a leaf. Oh. Game maker down. Game maker down. Oh, dang. Oh, 3 game makers down. Okay, 1... Trident. 2, dart. 3, skull cracked on concrete. Slid down the ladder. This is not good. I hope you know. You know this. I hope they know. This is not good. You killed. This is not good. Silka seems stunned into inertia as well. What'd you do? Did you kill the game makers? They'll never let us out now. Yeah. Those 2 gone. Silka and Haymitch, last one standing. And I feel like they thought Haymitch would lose, so Silka should have been the winner since she had nothing to do with it, and Haymitch's whole plan to like kind of take down the arena, not great. So it didn't work out in their favor, but I feel like that's what's gonna happen. I'm just predicting. You know, I love to predict. I'm always predicting things. Or hypothesizing, I mean. Oh my god, that is not something to say to him, especially after what happens. Sorry, were we out of focus? So with this whole game maker things, they break apart, and Maisie Lee said to Haymitch, why didn't you help me? Why didn't you do something like attack the game makers? And he froze. And they go back and forth, and she says, sorry, maybe you should be the victor, Haymitch. That would give you time to grow a backbone. Uncalled for. He froze. Can we please just calm down? Okay, rude. She pulls out a can of sardines and yanks off the lid. I'm eating this whole can because they're mine. She's eating with her fingers. And Haymitch is like, she must be really mad since she's eating with her fingers. Okay. They reach the end of the arena. A cliff down generator. Where do we go from here? I literally am trying to remember so hard what they said about Hamish's games in Catching Fire. I can't remember. I don't know. I'm a blank slate. I'm taking this in for the first time. That's what it feels like, at least. Like, I have no idea what's going on. I don't trust this. How long do you think this will be okay for? I don't know. I'm honestly slightly alarmed. Not alarmed, but I don't feel safe. I just made it to page 300, which means we have about 80 pages left. I don't think I'm gonna finish this up today. It is 12:24. If anything, I'll finish it tomorrow, but let's see. Also, do you like my bookmark? It's my name on it. Just showing you my bookmark. Yeah. I have two. I have one in pink too. It's actually just a piece of paper. I don't think it was intended to be a bookmark, but that's what I use it for. Oh, is this right? I don't know if this is right. I wish I don't wanna spoil anything, actually. I'm looking at my Catching Fire book over there, like, wait a minute. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. If I wanted to do that, I could have read it before this book came out, but I didn't. So people deal with the consequences. But it says, and I feel like I don't know what I remember. I feel like I'm creating memories for myself. But Hamish is saying, I'm staying here. And she goes, all right, there's only 5 of us left. May as well say goodbye now anyway. I don't want it to come down to you and me, which is terribly sad, but also quite true. But I don't remember. I know they split up. I don't remember if, wasn't he trying to protect her? They split up. I don't remember. I feel like when I read that book, there was an image in my head of how these things transpired. And I just didn't save it. My file is not up to date and I cannot open the file to see what happened. I don't know what to do right now. I'll come back to you if I see anything worth talking about. I feel like there are a lot of clips of me reading. You don't need to see that anymore, but I'll come back to you. Okay, bye. Someone else just died. It's been like 2 seconds since I've last seen you. Literally, I read a little bit and I'm like, wait, I have to turn this back on. Because I just want to pose a question. I'm John Quinones and this is What Would You Do? What would you do in this situation? Your friend / ally is here. There's 5 of you left. Cannon goes off. What do you do? I don't know what I would do. Imagine you're friends and there's 4 of you left. You're thinking about splitting up, but at the same time you don't want to because you want to stick it out together. But then what happens if, I don't know how the other 2 would die, but I feel like if it comes down to it, there could be a chance that, whether it be with like a natural disaster over there, they like what happened in Hunger Games, like the first one. They made Katniss and Peeta allies, so at the end it would make good TV to help them kill each other. And I feel like I wouldn't put it past the game makers to do that. So what if they want to do that to you? And you and your friend have to battle it out. That's not... Like, I don't know, like, would you stay with them and hope that you don't have to fight them? But then what happens if you do? That's just terrible. And I don't know. I'm torn. This is tearing me to pieces. They're gonna weigh their options. I don't know. This feels like it's gonna hurt and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Oh God, I'll be right back. Once again, it's been 5 seconds. He threw the pebble off of the cliff. It went down and then it popped back up. Like a freaking trampoline. I don't know what to do with this information. God, this is so good. This is so good. Also, off topic. I'm feeling like a romance after this. I don't know why. I feel like this is so serious. I feel like I need a palate cleanser. And I'm looking at my 2 Emily Henry books I have left. And I'm like, also, I have a trip planned right before, like 2 days before Emily Henry's new book comes out. And I'm so mad about it. And I'm like, how am I going to get my hands on this book? I'm going to another country. Like, how am I going to do this? Anyway. Oh my God. That's when I hear Maisie begin to scream and oh my God, I just suddenly got so hot in here. Oh my God, I can't. Oh my God, I can't do this. Oh my God, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. Oh my God, why is today an emotional day? It's not an emotional day. I feel emotional right now. I don't know what to say. I'm in a flash. I don't want to deal with this. I'm on my feet and thrashing, although a smoky tunnel, I can't read out loud right now. Hold on. Wouldn't it be absolutely, you know what would be absolutely terrible? If he killed her on accident. Could you imagine that happening in a game? Accidentally killing your ally, your friend? Oh my god, I don't even want to think about that. I just thought of that because he said my axe is out of my belt, drawn and ready. Are these freaking mutts right now? Ah! Oh, they dive. These are mutts. It's a distraction from the generator. Mark my words, game makers, when I get my hands on you, they dive again and again at Maisie who's kneeling on the ground, trying to use a tarp as protection. She's gonna be okay. I feel it. She's gonna be okay. But they have taken their toll. Blood blossoms from her cheek, her chest, the palm of her hand like ampered squirrels. They have no interest in me. Those freaking game makers. Programmed to target Maisie in a very personal punishment. They take so much away from Haymitch, and I have no doubt in my mind that Snow goes after his family. No doubt in my mind. A bird swoops down at a beak through the throat. Oh, she's not coming back from this. I realize Maisley's beyond recovery when the flock clears out. Game makers, when I get my hands on you. She's trying to talk, but she got a beak in the throat. Hole in the I can't do this. Oh my god, they want to hurt me. They want to hurt me. She locks her pinky around mine. They can't even talk to each other. He has no words. Looking, I think, for the final confirmation of the promise we made to each other. And he fulfilled his promise at the end of Mockingjay. They took down the Capitol. I can't do this. I can't do this. Yeah, I'm like, I talk to you and then I process everything and then I continue reading. I nod so she knows I understand and I will try to I can't read. I nod so she knows I understand and that I will try my best to bring the Capitol down. I'm literally sweating. I'm literally sweating. He scoots back about 10 feet and leans against a tree. And they lower the claw. I imagine the shot, my stricken face, visible through the metal talons as they lift Maisley's body up into the sky, leaving me all alone. Oh my god. So he takes her necklace, puts it on her neck, and she was like always known to like, at least right now in the games, she came in with a bunch of necklaces on, and he says, I've got my own jewelry collection now, what with District 9 Sunflower, Wyatt's script coin, and Lenore Dove's Warring Songbird and Snake, why I'm almost as decorated as Miss Donner herself. This is how you do relationship development. I fear this has to be an example to somebody out there. Like, this is how you develop a relationship, like literally from bare bones to making us care so much about these people as friends. Nothing romantic whatsoever, like just like invested in their friendship and hoping they make it together, even though we know that's impossible. Like, this is writing. I feel like I've just read like 50 pages. We're only on page 308. I feel like I've gone through so much in the past 8 pages. So many things. And I don't even know. I don't know. Goodbye, Maisie Donner, who I loathed and grudgingly respected, then loved. Not as a sweetheart or even a friend, a sister, I'd said. But what is that exactly? I think about our journey. Can we not do this? It hurts. I don't want to do this. A sister is someone you fight with and fight for tooth and nail. A parachute. Oh, now you want to send me gifts. Are you kidding me? I'm so mad. A parachute floats through the trees and lands before me. Ice cream and coffee. Maisie loves coffee. The ice cream jogs my memory. We're in the kitchen at the tribute apartment. Oh my god. Mags! Mags! I pick up the spoon and take a bite. Tears come. I let them fall unchecked. While I empty the basin, it's okay to cry around Mags. That hurts because we remember what happened to Mags. Sweet lady. Love her to death. That was uncalled for in Catching Fire. I'm sorry. I don't need to be reminded. I really don't. Basically dead, and so is the other girl that killed the game maker. Okay, I feel like I might stop for the night. He found Welly. She's about 60 pounds, not very good. And now he's looking to see if he can find some way to make a fire. It rained last night, so there's not a lot of dry material. And he's gonna hide her so he can go look for something to bake a potato. And I feel like this is not gonna end well. He left her a dart. The one dart that Maisie had left. I don't... Listen. She's very well hidden, it seems like, but I don't trust the situation, okay? Oh my god, wait, there's a message from... Wait, I just read this. I just kind of glanced at it, and it said something. I don't know what it said. We'll read until there, okay? Let's see what happens. I'll be back. Weird. He was thinking about how no one sends him a parachute, and then he gets one, and it says, courtesy of the Capitol. It's weird. It's a picnic basket. What isn't in the arena? Inside, nestled in a snowy linen napkin, I find a pitcher. A chill goes through me as I lift it into the sunlight. The white cylinder resting in a spiral staircase, the golden eagle perched on the lid. My thumb depresses its tail, flipping it open, revealing the cool, creamy milk. If this is not the pitcher from Plutarch's library, it's an exact replica. So, yeah, he's thinking it's from Plutarch. Tell me why Plutarch is kind of doing, like, you know, everything for District 12, like the cameras, the propos, and everything. But tell me why the stylists, like Senna, isn't allowed to bet on anyone. Are you catching my drift? He's going through the possibilities of what this could mean. And he goes, on the flip side, maybe Mags had nothing to do with this. And it's an evil message that goes like this. Greetings from your president. You didn't think I saw your little stunt with the milk pitcher in the library, but you were wrong. Because I see everything. That's so Snow. Literally. Your bombs, your plots, even with your flint striker from your pretty little bird. And now you have a choice. Do you drink the milk, give it to your sickly ally, pour it into the ground, because naturally you suspect it's laced with poison? That is so true. Bro, Snow would be that petty to be like, you don't want to help me? Here's a pitcher full of milk. I don't know how I feel about this, actually. What would you do? You are so thirsty. You're looking for... I'm giving you the scenario, but you already know the scenario. But, like, what would you do? Again, I'm John Quinones, and this is what would you do. I don't know what I would do. I'd hate to say that I have to give it to, like, a mutt or something to see what happens to them first. This, I don't know how this would end. I feel like in the one case, what if it is poisoned and he gives it to her and she dies? What do they think? That he poisoned it because it came down, maybe they cut away and they make it look like he poisoned it? Or on the contrary, if it's not poisoned and he decides not to give it to her because he's suspicious, then he looks like the guy that is withholding something that can make her better. Either way, it does not paint him in the best light. And they'd be like, oh, Hamish, he's such a rascal. Like, that's just something he would do. But, like, it isn't. Oh my god. If I keep reading, he's literally, yes, everyone is watching. If I do not immediately take this back to Welly and attempt to save her, it will look as if I'm playing nice with her, but actually trying to kill her. Once again, I must keep reading and stop talking. Yeah, I do not believe that Plutarch would be careless enough to link himself so publicly to me since I bombed the tank. That is also true. Like, Snow knows that that was from, like, that picture is Plutarch's. Plutarch isn't that stupid, you know? Oh my god! Given that he was assigned to cover District 12 tributes, it's probably against the rules for Plutarch to back us. Like, Proserpine, I can't say her name, but the stylists. Proserpina said it was for her and Vitus, the stylists. Yeah, the stylists aren't allowed to back them, so why would Plutarch be allowed to back him, you know? It's from Snow, the milky death, the fate I've been trying to defy. I'm trapped into doing his bidding in the Hunger Games, the best propaganda that the Capitol has. Propaganda, sorry. Spanish word, my bad. The Proud District Alliance, the newcomers will never be allowed to win. Welly will die of poisoning or starvation, or career. Silka, the capital wannabe, will take the crown. He's gonna drink it? But he has the poison, like, he has the antidote for the poison. A cannon. A cannon. What was it? Oh my god. I think we know who it was. You and me both know who it was. Oh my god. How old is she? The career. That's an image, first of all. That is an image. Oh my god. Don't lie like that. Oh my god. She attacked me. You're telling me that this 60-pound girl who can barely move attacked you? Oh. Sorry. Not funny. I noticed the poison dart hanging harmlessly from Silka's blousey sleeve. First of all, I didn't touch you. Do we really need to go ahead and do that? I'm so pissed. I'm so pissed. I don't think I've ever been this mad. At least while reading a Hunger Games book, like the three that I read those 3 books like a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, and I'd already watched the movies. I know them and I read it, so I feel like it hit less in some aspects. But this is my first run through with this, so this is pissing me off. Well, I mean, this is what they thought in the 75th quarter, not the quarter quell, the 74th Hunger Games. Oh, you're not going home, Silka. Neither of us are going home. I will kill her, and Snow will kill me. These games will have no victor, the second quarter quell poster. That's what I feel like that's what Katniss thought, like, Peeta and me, dead, no victor. They interfered in that one, and Snow will not kill him, as we know. Oh god, this is... Oh god, this is... The visuals I'm getting for this? Silka, count your days. Count your minutes, actually. Axe to axe, we go at it. I can't help but think that this fight would look really good in a movie. In the movie that's gonna come out next year. It's gonna look really good. I would not make it in an axe to axe fight. I wouldn't do it. I literally would die. No, the worst thing is that this is what the Capitol wants. Like, they want this fight, this show. I hate... It has to be done, but I kind of hate that they're getting it. Oh. Knocked out a couple teeth. That's not good. Oh, God. I think he did it. Ooh. Oh, she's coming. She's coming. I forget that you're not seeing what I'm seeing. Or reading what I'm reading. Oh, damn. The ladybugs. Oh my god. I don't think I can be that descriptive on YouTube. But he did damage. Ooh. I remember. This is how it happens, and I remember now. But he didn't mean it, honestly. He didn't know what was happening. He ducked out of defense, and it's not his fault that he was by the edge. She throws an axe, it's by the edge. That's not his fault. I'm sorry, but that's not his fault. Yeah, he knew about it, but in that moment, he was not thinking about it. I think. Hold on. It's not his fault. Oh, that makes me feel 10 times worse. Oh my god. That's when I remember the force field and what happens to dropped objects. For what the love of my life would call poetic justice. Oh, she's still alive. Oh. Oh, that's not good. Oh. Oh, she's suffering so bad. Can we also talk about, I hate to talk about this right now, but how in the movie, in the Hunger Games, when Cato's attacked by the Mutts, in the movie, Katniss just does it right then and there and takes him out of his misery, but if I remember correctly, which I think I do in the book, she waited until daytime to do that, to get him out of his misery. Kind of crazy. But it just reminded me here how he's waiting it out, and I gotta admit, like, Kato's death was kind of, like, that was really bad. The way he suffered all through the night, crazy. And it just reminded me of how, like, Haymitch is waiting. Silk is refusing to die, like, flashback. He's still gonna try to blow something up. Okay. Haymitch is in the apartment again. They've put him back together, but he's been there for, I think, a week? A while now. And he turned on the TV, and they're playing clips of old Hunger Games, and this is Lucy Gray. No doubt about it. On screen, a girl in rainbow ruffles sings a familiar tune with unfamiliar words. Her voice, the accent, the way those fingers command the guitar strings, a cubby girl for sure, but not mine. Why is he showing him this? The girl bows and extends her hand to the figure who's standing just outside of the spotlight, a silhouette of a man. Upright, trim, a crown of curls. He waits a moment as if deciding whether or not to join her, then takes a step forward as the screen goes black. I'm imagining that. And honestly, it looks really cool in my head, the way I'm picturing it. That's so interesting. I think about the bits of color Lenore Dove adds to her wardrobe. The bright blue, yellow, and pink. Are they scraps from this girl's dress? A way to keep her memory alive? He's putting it together. If District 12's forgotten her, it's unlikely she's remembered here in the capital. No, wait, someone here remembers the cubby. Someone who knows how they name their babies and love their birds. Intimate, personal knowledge, the information I attributed to capital informers could have an entirely different source. I do the math. 58 minus 40. 18. President Snow would have been 18 during the 10th Hunger Games. The cubby girl would have been no older. The curly-headed man in the shadows that she reached out to, was it him? That's kind of crazy. Imagine reading this without knowing about the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Wild. That would be crazy. Now I'm rethinking the order of these, but you know what? Yeah. He goes, "Oh, Lenore Dove, what have I done to you? How will you pay for my surviving the Hunger Games?" And he has it out for the cubby anyway. And they're watching him. Snow is watching him. I know he's enjoying this. Victor's ceremony. I have to go to bed. That's something I have to do. I want to keep reading, but I fear I have to stop. I have to sneeze. Okay. I'm gonna end it here for tonight. We're gonna finish this tomorrow. This has been really good. This has been really good, honestly. We're gonna finish this up tomorrow. Only a few pages left. This has been a really good reading experience for us today. I'll see you tomorrow. And yeah, I have a lot to process, but I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye. Hey, so it's 12:20 and we're gonna finish Sunrise on the Reaping. It's the first time I'm reading today, so I have nothing new to say. He's about to do his Victor ceremony. I want to see how this encounter with Snow is gonna go, as well as the aftermath of the games. So I'll come back to you with anything new and juicy, more or less. But yeah. Oh my, sorry, my ambience is on. It says that they're about to go like onto the stage, and Mags arrives in a wheelchair while a still mobile but distressed Wiress twitches her head about in a bird-like fashion. If they hurt Mags, first of all, that sweet lady, count your days. I can't do anything to them. They actually already got to her, but still, count your days. Their torturous treatment makes it impossible to deny my family's certain punishment. Are they already dead? Or will Snow arrange, as he did with Beatty, for a time when I can personally witness their suffering? Did I say this already? How I want, like, to know? I can't tell if I sat down and I said it or if I thought it. But I really want to know how Panem came to be as it is, with the difference between the districts and the capital. Like, we talk about why there's a Hunger Games, but I want to know, like, how it got to the separation of the capital and the districts, and why the districts are looked down upon like that. Like, I want to know the originating source of that situation and why is there a separation between the capital and the districts in the first place, you know? That's what I want to know. I don't know that part, and I really want to find out. What the heck? They're going over the tributes that were reaped and the reactions from people, and his mother and his brother aren't there. Why isn't Plutarch's footage here? I think we both know where this is going. And I don't like it. Oh god, he's suffered so much already, and I just don't need that to happen to him. The interviews are here, and it's been edited so the careers appear smarter, the newcomers are less unified, and Lulu's reduced to a girl wearing live reptile fashion. Maisie and Wyatt's memorable turns are entirely ignored, and I get one snarky exchange with Caesar, but nothing about the support for the newcomers or silly interplay about making booze for the peacekeepers. Or the fact, I think there was one that he made the game makers mad, and that's why they gave him a score of a 1. Up to this point, I think the recap's been a fair record of what occurred in the arena. However, on day 2, things start to go wonky. At some point, Maisie on her own kills the boy from District 1, which I believe to be true because she told me this. But the recount of what happened in the woods, my tale begins to deviate almost immediately. Timelines are twisted, connections misleading. They edited out everything that was not good about the games, forced it, chopped it around day by day, putting things to cover up certain things. No game makers, no Snow's like little gift of a pitcher of milk, nothing like that. Just chopped to fill the narrative. Nothing about Hamish trying to blow something up. Nothing in particular to that. And that's just how it goes here, I guess. What can I say? Editors are having a field day with that. Trumpets declare my victory. A claw closes down around me. I am so stressed out for this. I'm so stressed out. He puts the crown on his head and he goes to Snow. I guess Snow lands on top. He merely smiles and says, "Enjoy your homecoming." This is not good. I'm so stressed out. I'm so stressed out. The after party. I don't want to go to the after party. I want to go home. I want to see what happened. He's talking to Plutarch. They never released Lenore Dove. She's been in prison this whole time. We knew she was like in jail from the time that she talked to Hamish before the game. But she said that she was getting released the next day, and she's still there. She's not gonna make it. I already know that. No one's making it. They're keeping him in a cage for the after party. What the frick? And they're like the lady with the cat ears that we saw in the chariot race or the interview or whatever it was, like comes up to him feeding him a shrimp and he opens his mouth. Hello? Like what? When we see the banners for the first time, no peace, no prosperity, no Hunger Games, no peace, and then another one showing President Snow saying Panem's #1 peacekeeper. I took that the first time I read it to be like they knew about his history about being a peacekeeper back in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes for that short amount of time. But I think mostly because Hamish didn't know that he was in District 12 at all, means that he didn't know he was a peacekeeper in District 12. So nobody must know about that. But I just think it's kind of funny how they kind of put him as the #1 peacekeeper, knowing the backstory that he actually was a peacekeeper for a little bit. It's just kind of funny the way things happen. The hanging tree is on the page, and I have to say, every time I see this, I just hear Jennifer Lawrence singing it. I just really like this callback, always. It was in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I'm like 98% sure, and it's here now. And I always think it's like really relevant to what's happening. Okay, he's here. He got to District 12. There's no one there, no one waiting, no one expecting him. It's 5 a.m. I feel like his family would be there. I feel like they would be there. They put the tributes bodies on the train to drop them off to District 12. I just think like he thinks maybe it could be like a reminder for him, but if it's not, like honestly you should have sent those bodies back a long time ago when they first died, because it's been like what, 5 days, 6 days now since they died, if not more. Especially with Luella, just insensitive, but what is there to expect from the capital? No, yeah, more, because he spent like a week And then there was the victor ceremony and then the dinner, and it's been a while, so why are we just allowing these bodies to decompose? Like, insensitive once again. Oh god. I might feel Ma's arms around me, ruffle Sid's hair, and I feel like that's not gonna happen. I feel like it's not gonna happen. Oh my god, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna lose my mind. There's a fire. Maybe it's not mine. I know it's mine. Now I can hear the voices shouting for water, a woman wailing. As I round the bend, it comes into view, fully ablaze against the still dark sky. Ma, I cry. Sid. Oh god. They're inside the house. This is a fresh freaking fire, and I know they did it just because he's just getting home. He's at the homecoming. A burdock pulls him away, and he says he's too late. They already tried. That is awful. Don't they get like 5 minutes for a goodbye, and they didn't even get that much time together because the peacekeepers were just being absolute jerks. And Plutarch only got him like a little bit of time to shoot things for the footage for, you know, the Capitol. And now to not even, I don't know what would be worse, to be able to like see and reunite with that person and then have them torn away again, or just not to be able to reunite at all. Do you think that Lenore Dove is actually alive and that Haymitch stays away just because he knows that if he does get too close or does anything to upset the Capitol or Snow, that they'll take her away? This is actually so freaking sad. So they're having like a burial for like the tributes and Haymitch's mother and brother, and he sees Maisley's twin. I'm like literally on the verge of losing my shit. And low battery. My other battery's just charged though. But he sees her and then he starts for her, and then he realizes it's not Maisley. That one really got me. Are you kidding? You know what I wouldn't be surprised of? If Snow already got rid of Lenore Dove. And we never hear of the Covey. I feel like because obviously like the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes came after the Hunger Games trilogy, but like what if he wiped them out completely? Because his Haymitch's girlfriend was in the Covey, and because Snow just doesn't like the Covey because of his history with them. Like what if he like wipes them out completely? She's here. She's here in the flesh. I thought it was a memory for a minute. Okay. We're good. I'm coming up with so many things that could have gone wrong, but she saw him. Everything's nice right now. Too happy. I don't trust it. I don't trust anything. I'm so on edge. So on edge. Thrillers wish they could have me this on edge. Oh my, what is happening? What is happening? She has gumdrops, but they're not the ones that Sid gave her, that Haymitch gave to Sid to give to her. They're different ones. Not a variety of color. They're not a variety of colors, not a rainbow. They're all deep blood red. I remember Snow's rose, his final words to me. And the pieces fall into freaking poisoned her. Spit it out, I ordered, cupping my hand. Oh my god. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. She can't throw up. Oh my god. She ate one and oh my god. She can't stand up. She's like about to die and she goes, "See that?" I turn my head and see the sun just peeking over the horizon. What, the sun? Don't you let it rise. She gets out. I can't stop it. You know I can't stop. Her head jerks a bit to the side. On the reaping, she whispers. Promise. Her eyes flutter shut. Okay, I promise. And she's gone. So here it is. The unforgiving songbird repeatedly reminding me of President Snow's crystal clear message to me on my homecoming, that I will never get to love anyone ever again, never more. because he will make sure they end up dying a horrible death. And so I drive away anyone and everyone who could ever have been considered dear to me. Old neighbors, Hattie, customers, schoolmates, Blair and Burdock hang on the hardest. Blair finally acknowledges the truth of my position, gives me one final hug, and leaves sobbing. Even then, Burdock insists on showing up, sometimes along with Astrid, who bears a bottle of sleep syrup. Defiant, deaf to my pleas, I resort to throwing rocks, hard at them. It takes one hitting Astrid on the forehead, blood pouring down her face, to finally get them to leave me alone. Hurting her that way feels worse than anything I did in the arena. Okay, listen. I have a little bit of a mixed feeling on how I feel about Burdock being in here, especially with him being Katniss's father, because I feel like even if he did drive Burdock away just to protect him, that his death would have affected Haymitch, and him knowing that Katniss got reaped. And maybe this creates a deeper reason for why he wanted to protect Katniss in the arena besides Peeta. But like that's kind of like what I'm thinking right now, because like I find it a little odd. Maybe again it was like the state of mind that he was in and everything, but like he wasn't very attentive the first time that they met on the train to the capital, Katniss and Peeta and Haymitch. You know, like he wasn't willing to help. It wasn't only until he realized that they actually wanted to try and win that he was like, okay, we can do this. And I get that this is written after, but I don't know, I feel like it also creates like another level as to why he wants to protect Katniss, you know? Does that make sense? I feel like I'm rambling. I'm gonna keep going. So I kind of love that Lenore Dove's last words to him were like, stop the sunrise on the reaping, try to end the games. It adds like more to like this whole plot in Catching Fire to like stop the Hunger Games, and it adds more. It's adding a lot, and I really love that. So Burdock takes Haymitch to Lenore Dove's grave, and here we find headstones for the Covey, like their own graveyard, with a snippet of their name poems. And the first one I think is Maud Ivory, because it said Maud Claire. And then on another one is Lucy Gray's. So I don't know if this is like an official like grave for Lucy Gray because she died, or because she's out there somewhere. So it says on the gravestone, yet some maintain to this day she's a living child, that you may see sweet Lucy Gray upon the lonesome wild. It's kind of like in the poem, like it is saying like maybe she's out there, but on this grave, I don't know if she's actually there or if this was set up like by her friends, her family, as a way of kind of saying goodbye even though she's out there somewhere. But I feel like she wouldn't leave without, especially like Maud Ivory. Like, I don't know. What do you think? Here's the start, I feel like, to his character. He sleeps on her grave, and then it says after that, I hit the bottle even harder, drinking, disappearing into the night, regaining consciousness in the forgotten places of District 12. That's the start. Like, I knew like this was gonna be like a thing that happened after the loss of his girlfriend and family, but like it's still really sad even if you're prepared for it. Listen, I love Effie, but I refuse to believe that she's this stupid. It's the victory tour now, and she says, I'm so sorry about your family's accident, Haymitch. And then your girl's appendicitis right after. Tragic. But this won't do. We have a responsibility to carry on because she has to get him ready for the tour. Effie! Come on. Plutarch's here. We just finished up going to District 11. Haymitch is drunk, and Plutarch wants to talk to him in a stairwell because it's the only place that isn't bugged. I'm interested. I want to see what he has to say. Okay, wait, I have to read this to you. How is it you're looking so well, Plutarch? Wyrus and Mags were tortured, right? I'm guessing Beatty's dead. Beatty's too valuable to kill. I thought he'd have killed himself. He can't. His wife's pregnant. Besides, he wouldn't let Ampert drown that way. Oh, I see. He's going to overthrow the capital, is he? Maybe one day, but we can't, any of us, do it alone. You demonstrated a lot of nerve and intelligence in that arena. We needed your help. Haymitch is saying that he didn't really do anything. Like, everything that he did was for nothing because it didn't change anything. And Plutarch says, you shook up the capital. You were capable of imagining a different future, and maybe it won't be realized today, maybe not in our lifetime, but maybe it will take generations. We're all a part of the continuum. Does that make it pointless? And then Haymitch says they need someone different from him. No, Hamish, we need someone exactly like you. Just luckier. Luckier or with better timing. Having an army at their back wouldn't hurt. I'm kind of liking, like, like we know the rest of the story, but it's kind of nice just to see, like, what they're picturing at some point in time, whether it be, like, today, tomorrow, or, like, 25 years in the future. And I'm getting the vibe that, they're talking about this army that they need to raise, and how are they going to do that? So they don't know that District 13 is still here, which is interesting, and I kind of want to figure out, like, how District 13 gets into the loop with this eventually. So I just turned the page, and apparently there's an epilogue on the next page, so I kind of want to see what that's about, but let me finish this first. The only human contact I allow myself arrives in the way of Capital News, which I play on my television 24/7. That way, if Lenora Dove's ghosts ever come to me, I can tell her that I'm working on a strategy to keep the sun from rising. Yeah, this is the saddest part, is that his birthday's on Reaping Day. But I can't say I have no future, because I know that every year for my birthday I will get a new pair of tributes, one girl and one boy, to match it to their deaths. Another sunrise on the reaping. And when I remember that, I hear Sid's voice waking me in the morning. That raven first tapped on my chamber door. Happy birthday, Hamish. This is so dark and dim. I can't do this. Then the epilogue. Oh my god. When Lenore Dove comes to me now, she's not angry or dying. So I think she's forgiven me. She's grown older with me, her face etched with fine lines, her hair touched with gray, like she's been living her life beside me as the years have passed, instead of lying on her grave. In her grave. That's so sad. Still so rare and radiant, I fulfilled my promise about the reaping, or at least lent in hand, but she says I can't come to her yet. I have to look after my family. Katniss, no, don't do this to me. Do not do this to me. He's talking about Katniss. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. Yeah, like, this is him, like, knowing Katniss from the beginning. I first saw the girl at the hall when she was just a baby. Burdock was so proud of her. He towed her around everywhere. After he died in that mine explosion, she started coming alone. Tough and smart. Her hair in 2 braids then, reminding me for all the world of Luella McCoy, my sweetheart of gold. And after she volunteered for the games, that nickname couldn't help but slip out. You know what? I was on TikTok the other day, like literally while I was reading this book, and a clip of like Hamish and Katniss came up in Catching Fire when they were on the Victory Tour, and he calls her sweetheart. And on like in like the text under the clip, it was like, this has a new meaning now, and I was like, I don't get it. But now I get it. I didn't want to let them in, her and Peeta, but the walls of a person's heart are not impregnable. Impregnable. That's right? Okay. Not if they have ever known love. That's what Lenore Dove says anyway. I didn't want to have anything to do with their memorial book after the war. What use? What point? A memorial book? I feel like I've never heard of that. That wasn't in the other books, was it? And in the memorial book is when he tells everyone about Burdock and Maisley and how she was the one that had the Mockingjay pin. Before I knew it, they all came tumbling out. Family, tributes, friends, comrades in arms, everyone, even my love. I finally told our story. After a few, oh my god, Katniss! After a few days, Katniss showed up with an old basket filled with goose eggs. Not to eat, to hatch. I raided a few different nests so they can all breed all right. She's not an easy person. She's like me, Peeta always says. But she was smarter than me or luckier. She's the one who finally kept the sun from rising. I'm not sure I'll be here in the old there before much longer. My liver's wrecked and I only dry out when the train's late. I drink differently these days, though less to forget, more out of habit. When my time comes, it comes, but I have no idea when that will be. I reached the end. Oh, this was so good. This was so good. Oh my god. Since I got this from Barnes & Noble, I got an exclusive, and there's, I don't know if this is in all books, but there's like a Q&A. I don't even know what to do. The end of the acknowledgements. To all my wonderful readers, thanks for once again returning to Panem and investing in these characters and their struggles, even when you know the eventual outcome. The snow may fall, but the sun also rises. Okay, I just took a quick skim through the Q&A because I do have to go to bed, but this was really good. I'm gonna sit down tomorrow or after tomorrow to say like final thoughts, non-spoiler review, and rating. Just got deja vu. That was weird. Okay, anyway, this was really good. And now I just don't know what to do. This was really good though. I really, really like this. Okay. I'll see you in a few days. I'll see you tomorrow or after tomorrow, where we can sit down and really go through this. I'm so scared to see how long this video is gonna be. I'm very actually stressed out about that right now. But yeah, I'll see you soon. Okay? Okay, bye. Hi, welcome back. If this is your first time seeing me since the intro, or just welcome in general, it was like 5 seconds ago for you. But anyway, I finished Sunrise on the Reaping 2 days ago, and I needed some time to like kind of sit and marinate with how I felt about everything and kind of hone in on a rating. Like I knew like in general where this was going, but I just really wanted to, you know, like point one, point two, point, you know, that kind of stuff. I wanted to settle on where that went. So this book was really good, and even though I read and watched the Hunger Games books and movies and I knew how this was gonna end, I was still really involved and engrossed and entertained in the story, and especially with the characters. The characters really, I'm a character girl, what can I say? I say that like every video, but I am a character girl, and I really like how our side characters get, well, our important side characters get depth, and you get to know them like as a person and everything, and I feel like that really gets you emotionally involved in the stakes of this book. This book literally didn't drag at all. Like we get right into it, and I was so focused on the plot and how everything was gonna work out that I had no reason and no problems with how the story progressed. So in Sunrise on the Reaping, there are callbacks to the other 4 books, which is kind of nice to kind of tie it in together. And I feel like as the whole world like of Panem and everything, I feel like it really does create a sense of like overall, like you're like getting more pieces of the world, and I feel like it makes it feel like more lived in, like the story, because you're progressing and then you know certain things about the timeline and we kind of tie those back and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. And it just feels like, I don't know, it was like very well like sandwiched together, because the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is the 10th annual Hunger Games. This is the 2nd quarter quell, and obviously with the Hunger Games we get the 3rd quarter quell, and I feel like it just was nice to get to know like the progression of the Hunger Games and how we got to like the point of like Katniss, if that makes sense. Like I just felt like it made the world more real, and like even if you go back to the Hunger Games, I'm sure if I read it again, like it'll like blend together like very nicely, this book and those, because obviously Haymitch is in this book, Haymitch is in those books, and even while I was reading I was like tying things back to like the Hunger Games, and I was like, oh, like yeah, like that makes sense, and it's actually really nice. But I heard like, I don't know, I've been seeing like some people like on Goodreads kind of wondering like, now like the reading order, because the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes technically is first in the timeline, but is the 4th book publishing wise. But I heard some people saying they would want to read Sunrise on the Reaping before the Hunger Games, but I don't find that necessary, you know? You can, like, I always would like to go in publishing order, but I don't know. It's up to you, up to the reader, honestly. I'm assuming you know like basic Hunger Games lore, so Haymitch is the character who's in the Hunger Games. So I was like, as soon as this was announced, I was so interested in getting to know Haymitch before the Hunger Games and getting to know who he was as a person, and maybe like the events that occurred maybe in this book and like throughout his life, maybe we get like a sprinkle of that. Like that's what I was hoping for, so I could kind of develop him as a person and see how those events affected who he became as a person by the 74th Hunger Games and so on. And maybe like the reasons why he acted in certain ways and how that influenced his personality. That's what I was interested in, and I really like that we actually really get to know him here, and we get kind of like, we do get the reasoning as to how his character develops into who he is in the Hunger Games. So back to the characters, and I liked being emotionally attached to people, our side characters, because it makes us care about them, and you know, there's obviously like a sense of tangibility there, And I just love being emotionally involved in books. I feel like it makes it like more real, like you have feelings towards this character, you're hoping, you're rooting for them. And I thought that was really nice. I love character development and things like that. And there's one character in specific that we get to know at first, and then we kind of learn more about them. And that was really nice because it creates like this person who we knew at first and then adding to their character. I feel like that's just character development, like being like, oh, this person is like this because of this, this, and that, and then being like, oh wait, they're this person because of reasons. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, you're not judging this person based off first glance, and then you talk to them, you get to know them, and you're like, oh, like, they actually have a backstory, and that's actually, like, important, and you learn their morals and the way that they think, and you're getting to know them, and you're like, not so bad. You know what I mean? But I just really liked the relationship development, and that goes for like more than like one character. Obviously they're people we've never met, we have preconceived notions, and then they grow and we're like, oh, like, you're not so bad. Kind of what I said before, but I'm just saying it's not just for one specific character. I feel like it can be multiple characters in this book, whichever way you want to look at it. But I really love the relationship development and the emotional ties to people, and having it actually seem like there are stakes in this. Because sometimes you like read books where there's supposed to be stakes, but you don't really feel them because you're not emotionally tied to a character. You don't know enough about them to really care. But this was different. I really liked it. I love the character development. I love the plot. And I love how much we learned about Haymitch and how this story affects the Hunger Games, which I want to get into my spoiler review. But I really like the story and how it really does tie into the Hunger Games very well, and we learn a lot of things. It's just enlightening. It really is. Okay? That's all I have to say without getting into spoilers. But yeah, I really actually did enjoy this book. I try not to have like higher expectations for books, but this one, I couldn't help but have high expectations. They were Haymitch's games. And as someone who didn't vibe with The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, it was really nice to actually enjoy this book. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes wasn't really my vibe, but this one, it was nice. What can I say? Another hit. So with that, I'll leave you. This was a 4.6 out of 5 stars. I was thinking about it. I was debating it. And first of all, if you like my Goodreads, the Hunger Games books, for some reason, I'm pretty sure are rated 3 stars, which I don't feel like is right. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, so don't be comparing this with the other ones, because the other Hunger Games books do stack up really well. But for right now, I don't know why those are rated 3 stars. I read those a while ago before I kind of developed the system. Who knows? But yeah, a 4.6 out of 5 stars. And listen, I'm really happy that we got this, okay? So I know everybody else is saying this, but I also want to see this. I would love to read about Phoenix Games. That would be so good too, honestly. Everything that comes out of this world is just amazing, I feel like, and I can't help but want more Hunger Games material. But that is all. I'm gonna head into my spoiler review right now, but that is all for today. With that being said, if you liked the video, even though it was kind of short for you, leave a like, subscribe, and I have all my socials linked down below if you want to keep up with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Okay, hey! We just finished up the non-spoiler reading review. I was gonna say vlog, but that's not even true. Anyway, it's been 2 days since I last saw you, and I just needed time to sit and kind of calculate my rating, okay? I knew where it was gonna go. I knew like the amount of stars it was gonna get, but I was just kind of guessing like, oh, is it gonna be 0.1, 0.2? I know I get too into that, but I really do like having a scale and seeing where it fits. But I still have things I want to talk about first, okay? Before we get into that. I literally don't know what to do. I finished this book and I sat there and was like, what do I do now? Like, this is what I've been looking forward to for a very long time, and I'm like, I was sitting there like the little monkey emoji, like, what do I do? So then I sat and I wrote everything I wanted to talk about, and then I just kind of was like, huh, and then I went to bed. So I really enjoyed this book, and even though we know how things are going to go for Haymitch, I was still very interested in the book and where it was going, especially with the characters. Now, specifically, can we talk about character cameos for a minute? I know I talked about it a little bit, but I do feel like the cameos were a little heavy-handed at times and weren't, dare I say, all that necessary for certain people, okay? Certain names that were thrown around in there I feel were unnecessary, while others I was actually not at all mad about. This is not like a big qualm that I have with this book. I really enjoyed this either way. It's not a big deal. It's just something I wanted to point out that was maybe not as necessary as other things. But again, it's just me, and I feel like it takes me out of the story for a little bit. But that's just my little qualm on that. Plutarch, actually really liked where we went with that. I'll talk about that later. Effie, I feel like one that was like, it was nice to see her. I guess it gives kind of like Effie like a foot in the door to say, oh, like Haymitch and Effie have known each other for this long. This is why they're like good together, and you know, it kind of introduces her to everything. Was it absolutely necessary and pivotal to the plot? No, but it was still nice to see her. The name drop for Peeta's dad, unnecessary for me because I just start to think about Peeta, and it took me out of the story, especially that one. But that's just how I felt about cameos. Now, let's get into something else. Let's fast forward to the ending a little bit and Haymitch's girlfriend's death, Lenore Dove. I think it's, I read it in the moment and I thought about it and I was like, I think it's a little weird how Haymitch didn't immediately suspect that Snow killed Lenore Dove. You know how he kind of like sits there, and it just took him a little bit to kind of be like, oh, Snow did this. But I feel like that was weird, mostly because we know like before he leaves to go home, Snow says something along the lines of like, enjoy your homecoming, and then we know what he did to Beattie's son, and with all of that backstory, and I feel like him like literally killing the chariot guy, whatever, the parade guy, I feel like Haymitch had enough information to see how Snow was as a person and to kind of put two and two together and be like, yeah, he killed my parents, it was a mysterious fire, and look, Lenore Dove dies a very short amount of time after his brother and mother. Like, I feel like he should have put that together faster because it took him a little bit like, oh, the gummies were red. Gummies? Gumdrops? The gumdrops were red and Snow was wearing a red rose. But like, also, like, you've not made this man happy in any way, shape, or form. He has it out for you. Like, you did everything in the sense of rebellion. I feel like he should have put that together and been like, no, yeah, this was Snow, no doubt about it. And I have a little bit of a nitpick with the relationship between Haymitch and Lenore Dove. I feel like that I should have been more involved and more emotionally attached to Lenore Dove as a character to actually want her to survive. I feel like we all knew like that she was gonna die, but I feel like I should have hoped that she wasn't gonna die. Well, I did hope she wasn't gonna die, but I should have like literally been emotionally torn, being like, no, I love this character so much, like I don't want her to die. And I feel like that kind of needs to be put more in the beginning of the book. We don't spend much time with them as a couple because it's just the same. It's like we start off on reaping day, so we only get like a few scenes with Lenore Dove. Like, we know Haymitch is always talking, like always telling us about her and how much he loves her, but I don't feel like the emotions that I should be feeling for someone who's like wanting them to be together and to stay together. Which, this isn't a romance book, but I feel like still I should have been like emotionally attached to her as a character and hope that she was okay, like back at home, even with being arrested and all this stuff, when I was just like, I don't really care that much. I just kind of want to move on to the next portion of the story. But for that reason, I feel like her death didn't really hit hard. A character that stood out though was, of course, Maisie Lee, my girl Maisie Lee. I really love that we saw her through Haymitch's eyes at first and who he had previously judged her to be, like this super rich girl from District 12. Her dad is about to be mayor. He knows that she has a lot of money and that she made fun of him when they were in school together. And I really like that we saw it that way because I knew that she was going to be in the book because of what we already read in the Hunger Games, but I was like, okay, if Haymitch doesn't like her, like, why did we team up with her in the games? Like, I like that it wasn't just like, oh, like, we have to look out for each other. I like that we actually got to know more about her character and have her grow on us and for us to care about what happened to her. Because I really did. Like, especially, I feel like, at least I thought that she wouldn't hate the Capitol as much as other people because she kind of was one of the people who didn't have it as bad as the people from the Seam because she had a lot of money. But I like how we saw that even though she's a richer person in District 12, she really did hate the Capitol and she hate everything that they stood for, and she was trying to still rebel against like Drusilla, you know, the escort, that lady. She's like being really mean to her and she doesn't literally give a crap about anything. Like, she gets slapped in the face and she's like still throwing insults at her. Like, she really doesn't care. And I really like that about her, especially that when they're trying to make allies, we see that she doesn't always have to be mean, but she can actually still be herself to an extent and make friends and make allies. Like, it's not a one-dimensional like mean girl character. It's like, it's deeper than that. I really liked her. And this was also a really good display of how relationship development I feel like should be between, like, especially Haymitch and Maisie Lee. I forgot her name for a minute. We see the relationship develop into him eventually calling her sister, and I, at least, I was trying to picture a way where she could make this out of it, even though I knew that she couldn't. But I was like, maybe. But no. It couldn't happen. It was not to be. Especially since they had been through so much in the games, especially with like the game makers, the fight that they had, like it was down to like 4 people, and I was like, I really, like, at the same time, I want her to survive, but I don't want it to end up between Haymitch and her and them having to fight it out. Like, I was like, I don't know. Like, do we split up? Do we not split up? I don't want you to split up, but like at the same time, I don't want it to end up between you and her. And I feel like that's how you know the relationship has been written well, when you're very emotionally involved and you know it's gonna hurt when they take this person away from you. The funeral with this twin sister got me so bad. I was like, she just had to have a twin. And Haymitch just like, as soon as he like started to like walk towards her and be like, Maisie Lee, I was like, Haymitch, no. Like, that hurt. That really did hurt. Another character I want to talk about is Plutarch. Plutarch! Okay, this was an essential. It wasn't even a character cameo. Like, I feel like a cameo is like, oh, like, you're in here for like a little bit and then you like go away because you're not important. But Plutarch was not a cameo. Plutarch was a full-fledged character in this book, and I very much enjoyed this. I think it showed how dedicated to the cause he was, because honestly, this is the 50th Hunger Games. We're up to 75. It's been 25 years. I like that we saw that Plutarch has been here from the very beginning, starting the cause, and how dedicated he was to it even now. Like, although he didn't have as much help that he did in the third quarter quell, like, he was still trying his best with what he had. And I want to know more about that. I want to know, like, I really can't remember if I mentioned this or not, so sorry if I mentioned it already, but I want to know why he wants this so bad, because I feel like as someone who was born in the Capitol, like, I feel like he would feel partial to his people and be like, no, these Hunger Games are actually very important to us, and this is the reason why they should happen. But something happened in his life, or maybe there's a backstory we don't know about him and his family, that this has been instilled in him. Like, the Hunger Games are actually like something really bad, and like we should try to help out as much as we can with getting these games to stop. It's like, maybe he's from another district who was like in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, like maybe his family got moved to the Capitol for some reason because they were like a higher class. I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud. But I just thought it was really nice to see him in this book and how he kind of put everything kind of into play. Like, he helped out, and it's just like a step in the right direction for the rebellion. It's just nice to know that his commitment to the cause has never wavered, and that he's always trying to do the right thing. You know, like at first you're weary of him, especially in the Hunger Games, and here I'm like, okay, like I know I should trust you, but like I don't know who you are at this point in time, and I feel like I should trust you, but like still like I'm not sure. Like there's still this sense of uncertainty with him, even though we know him. I feel like, wait, like maybe I should like pause and not trust you, but you know. I also like how in this book he mentioned how things would be different if they had an army, and I'm kind of interested in Plutarch's kind of story, because I'm wondering how he ended up finding out that District 13 was there and how they plan to kind of find someone for the cause. Like I don't know how long they've been planning, well obviously for a really long time, but like I don't know how long that he's known like Coin or District 13 as a whole, and how he got them on board to be like, yeah, we just need to find someone to kind of rile up the people and have the districts unite as one and go against the capital. I really liked how they put that there, because it kind of, it ties back to Mockingjay. Like Katniss is the symbol that they needed, and they have the army that they need, and this is the reason why they succeeded. Like even though they tried with Haymitch also says that, I think Peeta said it, that Haymitch and Katniss were similar. Like even Plutarch was like, no, we need someone just like you, but we also need an army to kind of fulfill this. Like Haymitch could have been the one to do it, but they just didn't have enough manpower for this to go the way that they wanted it to. I think I mentioned, I don't know how much I mentioned in this vlog. Honestly, I looked at the footage yesterday night and it is 3 hours and 58 minutes long, and I was like, oh my god. But that being said, I want to know like the origin story of Panem. Did I mention this? I feel like I did. But like, I want to know why there are districts, why the capital is so above these districts, how they split up the districts. Kind of, I feel like that's just the way to spread and like split the people so they don't overthrow the capital. But like, I want to find out why this is set up the way that it is and what caused it. I just want like a little history lesson. Maybe like a little novella. I want a history book on Panem. So I really like this book. I like the way it tied back to the Hunger Games. I liked, especially like, this is the epilogue. Like I really like that we got to see Katniss and Peeta again, mostly because I just really like to see them, and it really makes me happy to know that they're okay. I really liked it. And not only that, but to see how Haymitch is doing. I feel like it was mentioned in Mockingjay and I just don't remember it, but it was nice to get a refresher and to know that he's okay and that he's not drinking just for the sake of forgetting anymore. He's kind of getting over his, not getting over, but he's trying to like cope with his trauma and in a healthier way. Like he has this little geese now. It's really nice, okay? Like I like seeing that. I like to know that everyone is as happy as they can be in this situation. I gave this a 4.6 out of 5 stars. If you go on Goodreads, you will see that the other 3 Hunger Games book I feel like are rated with a 3-star, I think. I haven't thought about where this lands on the scale of the Hunger Games. I really like this book, and I really like the Hunger Games as a trilogy. I really enjoy it. It's been like 2 years since I read it, and I have my notes on that anyway, like my review. I keep my reviews on my phone, so I do have like the reasons why I rated those books like that, but I don't know what my scale was at the time, if it was like 1 to 3 stars or 1 out of 5. I have no idea. But I kind of would like at some point, at least, I don't think it'll be anytime soon, but to reread the Hunger Games and to kind of get like a final rating. Because I feel like these are like ratings, yes, that I have on those books, but they're not like final, because I really enjoy Catching Fire specifically. And in my notes, I rated that less than the Hunger Games, which I don't feel like is correct. Like I really enjoyed the Hunger Games, but I like Catching Fire. But right now, this is a really good book. I'm not gonna stack it up against the others, even though I will say it's better for me than the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, but yeah, it was a 4.6 out of 5 stars for me. I really enjoyed this. I would love to see Phoenix Games at some point. If that's something that Suzanne Collins would like to write, I would love to read it. Anything about Panem, honestly. Give me a little like history book, please, about the history about Panem. Would love to know more about that. But yeah, another hit. What can I say? I never doubted her. I never did, okay? Thanks for watching this really long video, if you did. Love you for that. If you liked it, give me a like, a subscribe maybe if you kind of enjoy the vibe, and if you want to keep up with me, all my socials are linked down below. I'll see you in the next one, okay? Bye!